Hello everyone and welcome to the video where we will be talking about the Americanization of cultural food. If you're watching this and you're American or at least live in America, I'm sure that you have been to Taco Bell, Olive Garden, Panda Express, or any other restaurant that seems to be themed around a certain culture. You may be aware, but most of these restaurants do not prepare authentic food. It's not really difficult to realize this. However, many people aren't aware of just how many popular cultural dishes in the US are Americanized to the point that they're even served in local ethnic restaurants. So in this video, I'm going to share examples of these non-authentic dishes and their true origins, and I'm going to try to explain the possible consequences it may have on culture and why it's important to know this. The term Americanization, as I am using it for the context of this video, refers to the way American culture influences other cultures, specifically their cuisine. Americanization impacts so many different cultures, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to focus on Italian and Mexican food. So let's go ahead and get started. So Italian cuisine is one of the most known in the world and has spread to so many different regions. It first came to the US in the late 19th to early 20th century, where it slowly began to adapt to the conditions of this country, such as the ingredients that were available. A classic dish that all Americans know is the pepperoni pizza. I think this and just pizza overall has somehow become the face of American food, even though it is traditionally an Italian recipe. However, pepperoni pizza and pepperoni itself actually originated in New York. In Italy, pepperoni means bell peppers, and their meat pizzas will usually have prosciutto, I don't know if I'm saying that right, salami or sausage. Italian pizzas also have way less cheese, way less sauce, and a thinner crust. So these are some of the factors that differentiate it from American pizza. Similarly, we have spaghetti with meatballs, also an Italian-American creation from New York, which they do not eat in Italy. Instead, they have polpette, which is a recipe that can vary through regions, but generally consists of Italian meatballs, which are smaller than American ones, and a red sauce, no spaghetti. Next, we have chicken parmigiana or chicken parmesan, which consists of breaded chicken with pasta, red sauce, and parmesan or another cheese. This Italian-American dish is inspired by melanzane alla parmigiana, which is fried eggplant placed with tomato sauce, mozzarella, parmesan, and then baked. The reality behind this dish is that Italian cuisine in the past centuries rarely contained chicken, as it was not produced in the country. So Italian immigrants created this dish in the US as an adaptation to the ingredients available here. Another dish that I think is really interesting is the Caesar salad, which apparently some people associate with Julius Caesar. I'm sorry to break it to these people, but it has nothing to do with him. And surprisingly, Caesar salads originated in Mexico. The Caesar salad was created by an Italian-American restaurant owner named Caesar Cardini. And the legend says that it was a busy day at the restaurant and food was running low. So Caesar quickly busted up a dish originally consisting of lettuce, croutons, parmesan cheese, boiled eggs, garlic, and some sauce. The salad began gaining some popularity in the US and was also allegedly enjoyed by celebrities, so that's pretty cool. However, it is not a dish that is consumed in Italy. Another popular dish is garlic bread, which is slices of bread covered with butter, garlic, sometimes cheese and herbs, and then baked until it's nice and melted. I have to be honest here, this has to be one of the best things Italian Americans came up with. I have seen nothing but love for garlic bread, and the fact is that they do have garlic bread in Italy, specifically Italian bruschetta with olive oil, Italian bread, and some garlic. It's nice and simple. Italian-themed restaurants will always make sure to serve garlic bread for their customers. And speaking of restaurants, we cannot discuss Italian-American food without talking about the infamous Olive Garden. Olive Garden is a popular Italian-themed restaurant chain in the US said to have popularized many Italian-American dishes. In my personal experience, I have seen people that will swear by this restaurant, and I have also seen many people talk about the lack of authenticity in their food, saying that it is an offense to Italian cuisine. So I decided to look into the origins of this restaurant chain, thinking that maybe it was originally founded by an Italian-American chef, but instead I find out that it was founded by the commercial company General Mills, the cereal company, in 1982, Orlando, Florida. So I guess we can scratch out Italian creator. Anyways, I decided to look up people's opinions on this restaurant so I could hear what actual Italians had to say about it. And here is what I found. So the general consensus by most people is that it is in fact not Italian food, pretty obviously. So here is what some people had to say, and I quote, "It is insulting that something so low quality calls itself Italian. The slop they serve at Olive Garden is nothing like that. Try this. Take a flight to Italy, flights are cheap, and eat your way through the country, then go to Olive Garden and answer your own question." Some other people talked about how the foods are frozen and just not fresh, not natural, and they're just appropriating the names of actual Italian dishes. Then here we have this Italian person who actually gave an overview of some things in the menu and explained how they're not Italian, and this one's really interesting. So overall, it doesn't seem like it is well received as can be expected, but in the last section of this video, I'm gonna go more into detail about why this is all important. So now that we have talked about Italian food, we can now discuss Mexican food. Mexican cuisine is one with a long history since it has existed for thousands of years and has evolved to what it is today. I think it's safe to say that Mexican American food is very loved in the United States, which has many Mexican communities, and you can find many local restaurants. Something interesting is that you can actually find many Mexican American dishes in Mexico's tourist spots, meaning that so many tourists ask for Mexican American food that restaurants started incorporating them in their menu even though it's not food that the local people eat. One example of an Americanized creation is tacos with cheese and or sour cream. These toppings became a thing when tacos were brought to America and are not quote-unquote classic taco toppings. You can find tacos with cheese in Mexico in different regions for different recipes, but it's not exactly a traditional ingredient in the way that we see it in the United States, and sour cream is completely an American addition. Then another Mexican dish that has become Americanized is nachos. Nachos are Mexican and can be found in Mexico, but are usually prepared way differently than in the United States. It can vary a lot, but usually nacho chips are eaten with cheese and sometimes jalapenos or some salsa. In contrast, nachos in the US are loaded with many more things, including but not limited to guacamole, meat, beans, salsa, sour cream, jalapeno, olives, chili, corn, lettuce, cheese, etc., 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 etc. The fajita is another dish that is now authentically Mexican. Fajitas are said to originate in Texas, and they're made from Mexican ingredients, typically consisting of strips of grilled meat with peppers and onions served with a side of tortillas. In Mexico, fajitas refers to the cut of a steak, and although they do eat grilled meat and vegetables, the dish as we see it in the US is not exactly a Mexican dish. Now, let's talk about burritos and chimichangas. So for those who are not aware, burritos are more of a Mexican-American thing. You could find burritos in northern Mexico due to how close it is to the border, but it's said that burritos originated in Los Angeles, California. It is not a common thing for locals in Mexico to eat burritos. And chimichangas are even more American since they are deep-fried burritos. Typical of American culture to deep fry everything, am I right? But in all seriousness, these were created in Arizona and they're very tasty. Another deceiving ingredient is hard shell or corn shell crispy tacos. These were also invented in California and they are not commonly seen in Mexico, as opposed to in the US where you get asked which type of tortilla you would like when ordering tacos. Allegedly, Taco Bell is what made crispy tacos so popular. Taco Bell was founded by an American man named Glenn Bell, which is where the restaurant gets its name from. Taco Bell is a popular fast food chain which can be best described as inspired by Mexican food. There isn't really anything authentic about Taco Bell, but they don't claim to be either. I once again decided to research what the general public and Mexicans thought of Taco Bell, and it was different than the reactions for Olive Garden. Everyone agreed that there is nothing authentically Mexican about the food, but some people argued that it can still be enjoyed from time to time. This one person was really angry about it, and they said, "No, it is not even close. It is an American invention. Hard-shell tacos don't even exist in Mexico. Ray Bell invented them. Taco Bell tried twice to expand into Mexico and failed miserably both times. They don't even cook anything in the stores except what can go in the fryer. No stoves or grills. Meat is pre-cooked and boiled in a store to heat up. Beans and other items are freeze-dried and they use hot water." Okay, and that concludes the overview of examples in this video. So after learning about all of these cases, you may be wondering what to do with all of this information and what any of this means. What does it imply? I was honestly quite shocked when researching this topic because I was expecting to find how America ruined ethnic food. I believe that this is a sentiment that many people often express, as we saw with the opinions of Olive Garden. People feel like America is insulting their culture, but the reality is it depends. And I'm gonna explain what this means. Honestly, it's quite simple. When you look at it from afar, it seems like American culture has caused traditional recipes to become watered down and worse than the original. But when you closely look at Americanized recipes, you often find that they were created by immigrants, such as with most of the Italian American dishes. They came to another country and adapted their traditions to fit their new environment and new ingredients, and oftentimes the new exaggerated recipes were actually seen as a sign of prosperity for them. So instead of seeing them as bastardized versions of the traditional recipes, they should be seen as creations of a new culture. It's not Italian food, it's Italian American. It's not Mexican, it's Tex-Mex. They should be recognized as they are. And they already are recognized as they are. But there are honestly so many people who are unaware of this information, as obvious and basic as it may be. Despite this, however, there is a line. There is the fact that there are so many establishments that get to capitalize off of another culture without being authentic and creating misrepresentations and stereotypes of said culture. This can really become a problem, and it can be often seen with Asian cuisine, such as Chinese, Japanese, and many, many more. These cultures and their cuisine are often stereotyped and disrespected by the same people who will then go to these restaurants. This is wrong and disrespectful in so many levels, and the misrepresentation of real authentic food can become problematic, as seen with how many Americanized dishes are served in Mexico due to tourism. This means that even more people are becoming unable to differentiate traditional versus Americanized, which can really affect the culture in the long run, because in a way, it's removing diversity. So, in conclusion, I hope that everyone becomes more culturally aware and is respectful. And thank you for watching my little shorter than expected video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.